Good evening, good afternoon in the US. If you're in the East Coast, we want to say good afternoon. If you're in Liberia, we want to say good evening. All right, this is the Melting Pot, a special edition of the Melting Pot, and the Melting Pot is a Liberian initiative where we discuss developing issues in Liberia. We talk about what's going on in Liberia, what is obtaining, and then we bring you up to speed. One of the things that we are aware of as Liberians around the world is that we want to keep in touch with what is happening in our home country in Liberia. And we have this saying in Liberia that Liberia is for all of us, and there's no place like home. So we take the time to discuss what's going on in our home country. And not only that, but we share our views and our mind on those issues. And we think that is healthy for the democracy in our country, and it helps us to take our country forward. And, where everybody have their saying, and we say in Liberia is for all of us, not just for one person. And so, thank you for joining me. Today, we will be discussing three topics. All right, the trending issues in our country today. One, it has to do with the impasse in the House of Representatives in Liberia, where we will be discussing the developing issues in Liberia when it comes to the House of Representatives. And then we also take our time to talk about where do we go from here? How do we take it from there? As Liberians, what can we do to bring some improvement to our country? That's why the Melting Pot is a part of what we refer to as a sustainable development think tank, where we bring our ideas and we bring our minds together to see how best we can contribute towards our country's development. So thank you for joining. If you're on the show, I want to say thank you for joining. Please share the show. If you can, share it to as many platforms as you can share it to. And then we go into those topics. We'll also be having a conversation, last but not the least, on the level of insecurity in Liberia. One of my pastor friend, one of my brothers in the Lord, Pastor Sumo Victor Culver, with the Emmanuel's Church on the SD Cooper Road. I saw his Facebook page when he posted and said, a lot of things going on, so people should be very careful. At least make your location known wherever you are in the country, and when you're going about your daily basis, as much as you can, touch bases with family, and let them be aware of where you are. And I want to support that, and I want to say to you on this live broadcast, wherever you are in Liberia, whatever is going on around you, learn to share your location, tell family where you're going. Do not try to be out there alone without anyone knowing where you are. All right. And I say this to say, because one of the talking points today has to do with a young man that was killed yesterday. Right. He was shot by a police officer in the Banjo area. He was shot by a police officer. Don't forget, last year, in August, we also had another police shooting where a 19-year-old boy was also killed. And that guy was charged to court. Whatever became of that whole thing, well, we don't know yet. So, and then don't forget also, we had a young boy got killed in the rehab community also. And there has been a lot of killings and especially with police involvement, unnecessarily. So, yeah, we've also seen, and we have time to discuss that on the show, where people in broad daylight jump on individual in the street and mob the person to death. We've seen video of how another young man was almost murdered as well, but other people had to intervene when some guys tried to stab him, right, in broad daylight in Monrovia in Liberia. So yeah, be careful out there, all right, and then try to be safe. So yeah, let us delve into our conversation for today. Let us go into the politics of today. What can we learn from what is happening in our country today? What are some of the things that are going on in the country today? And yeah, let's have that conversation. Please share this live if you can. All right, so let's have that conversation. So thank you again for joining. Thank you for joining. So first of all, let us discuss the issue that has to do with the legislature. Now, I know a lot of Liberians will be saying right now, listen, Dr. Pearson, I know you want to talk about what is happening in Liberia. I know you are concerned about what is going in Liberia, but all of these things are politics. And, let us forget about. But we cannot forget about these things. They may seem to be politics, but it is not just politics. All right, it involves the future of our country. All right, it involves the future of our country. So we need to be very cautious. We need to be very aware of what is going on in our country, and so that what is happening will not be something that we take for granted. We need to be aware of what is going on in our country. So when you are aware of what is going on in your country, then you are able to make some sound decisions and how you participate in the daily politics of the country. All right, in the daily things that are happening in the country. So the first conversation we'll be having today will be that of the situation within the House of Representative, right? In the House of Representative. I think it's a good conversation. I know some of you might be saying, oh, listen, Dr. Pearson, listen, we don't have anything to do with that thing, that political issue. Let the people solve the problem. Whatever they do there are the business. No, not whatever they do there is their business. Because, first of all, let's begin by saying, Tadawayan, thank you for joining. Let us begin by saying that, listen, whether we like it or not, it is important for us to note that as Liberians, elected officials are answerable to the people that elected them. In Liberia, we need to realize that when people are given authority in the country, when people are given position in the country, in our country, it is not that because they maybe senators or representatives or presidents, so they're so super powerful now. We can't say anything, concerning what they do. We can't ask them questions. We can't talk about anything that they're doing. So we let them just do anything that they want to do. Country and governance does not work like that. So first of all, let's go back to our basic civics, right? To our basic civics. So in civics, when we're coming up in school, way back in civics, they will tell you and they will teach you that, number one, for you to be an independent country, certain things must happen. First and foremost, you must have a land space. You must have a land space that you can claim as your country. So you see, like in Ukraine now, they're fighting for their land. They don't want Russia to take their land. You see Israel fighting for land. You see the Palestinian people fighting for land. So for you to be considered a country, you must first have a land, right? Another thing our saviors taught us is that before you can also become a country, you have to have a people that occupy that land. So not only just the empty land, but the land should be cleaned by a group of people. Thank you for coming on, Francis Mason. You please share the show. Not only you have a land, but our physics taught us that besides having this land, thank you for coming on, Prince Parker. Besides having a land, you must have a people that occupy that land. And not only that, for you to become a country, then you must also have a level of jurisdiction. That's where law come in. You got to have jurisdiction. Thank you for coming on, Frankie. Please share the show. You have jurisdiction. Now, jurisdiction talk about having a form of government. So, our initial, when we were growing up, coming out, we were much younger, when we were doing service in school, they will tell you, for you to consider yourself as a country, an independent country, you need to have a land, you need to have people occupying that land, and then those people should be organized so that they have a government. And even though there are different forms of government all around the world, in Africa, in Liberia, for example, when we first started, we didn't have the Western form of government that we have today called democracy, right? What we have families, scattered across the land in different areas. Because back in those days, the additional people, they move from place to place, making the farm, and they move in families. So that service is important. So they didn't have a form of government. So over time, thank you for coming on, Jerry. Please share the show. So over time, those native people, when one man family grew, he couldn't keep going up and down with recording cattle warrior. They couldn't cut cattle, who share cattle. So they couldn't go back and forth. So they said, let's settle down. So let us learn to farm. Let us learn to raise our own cattle. So with that, people start to settle down now, what we call village, and then when the village grew and we start getting big, we call it town. But so people started to gather together and find ways to not just roam around, even risk it. Every time a family, a man with his wife and children, maybe grandchildren moving around with the cattle or moving around looking for a better place to farm. They might get into area of other people already existing there, so there will be conflict. So if you go in our Liberian history, is found a lot of times you see there are different tribal wars that took place, you know. And that's why for me, I'm from Maryland County, right? Marylanders, we one of the major warriors in Liberia. Let me tell you, I'm making no big more, but the Marylanders are major warriors in Liberia down there, right? You know, but the fact of the matter here is that so when you settle down now, as you have a land space, you have your people, and then you have once you get government. So how do we come to government in Liberia, even though our people were scattered across the west, the west coast down there, and, you know, so even though we're scattered down there, but how did it become a country? So while people were living in the different towns with the families, the Kisi people, Loma people, Va people, Pele people, Bassa people, on different areas and geographical space, Nima people, Gio people, Dan people, in a different geographical space at the time. Mandingo people, I should put that down to Mandingo people, I was in Liberia by that time. So then we have this situation. You need to learn service, because that's what we're missing and causing us problem. So by the time our people are sitting down there, so by the time the family started getting large, and then they started having what they call towns now and villages. So they say, you know what happened? They didn't call it towns at that time, but at least they settled down in one group. So they say, you know, they family together, they compound. Thanks Jasper for coming, thanks JJ for coming. Please share the show. Janji, thank you. Please share the show. So at some point in time, these families got large on the lay space, like when you go into Bikano, or you go into Nimba, or you go into Grand Cape, man, you see small town, and you see 5 horses made one town. And you know, in Liberia, this is all ready from Liberia. You go other places, you see 10 horses made town. And you go to another place, you see 20 huts. Now, those different huts, the more people settle together in group, then at some point in time, now the elders of that person who were the first to settle there, maybe become the chief of that area. All right. And then usually in Liberia, by that time, we name the place after the person who first settled there and started that family. All right. The head of the family. All right. So then maybe you hear they say, B Jotan, or you hear they say, Blue Jotan, and, you know, or you hear they say, Chizanzan Kawatan. And, you know, but that's how we develop. But when the free slaves from America, so America has its own issues, right? How we call I will take my time to explain it, because it's important, because we're missing too many things. So let's say our African people are sitting there managing the business, doing the late town and late village things, and, you know, managing the business, raising the family. It came a time where even across, we're in the West here, some Westerners decided, you know, from Europe and other places, let's get on ship and go see other parts of the globe. Let's see what's existing beyond the ocean, and we see the sea than we see here. So people travel across the sea, and they came and they found us, our own people and our ancestors, the African people, saw us on the continent of Africa, and they said, well, but we didn't know people were on the other side. So they interacted with our people, especially on the coastal area, Sierra Leone, by that time, not called Sierra Leone, Liberia, Nigeria, South Africa, all the coastal areas, you know. And then those who came from Europe too went to Northern Africa. We got Libya today, Morocco today, Egypt today. And then you go to the eastern side, you get Ethiopia. So those people went there. Those Europeans went there. The Westerners went there on their ships, and they came to South Africa. But meanwhile, they had their own form of government on where they came from. So what happened now? I'm talking about some service that we're missing out of our guys or where we are today. So when these guys came and met us, they met our towns and our villages of our tribal people. So they interacted, they bought pepper, or they bought tobacco and exchange it for different things, maybe for guns also, small thing like suppose in the Bazapo area, giving it for small fish, all kind of funny things. But battle trade happened, so we start to understand where we're going. And so when they saw us, our people, besides trading in those things that maybe tobacco or marigata pepper and other kind of thing, the Westerners noticed that we were strong people. Africans are strong. We are hard working. We do a lot. That they found very interesting, that they think they couldn't do. So they took advantage of that. They make some arrangements with some of our chiefs and things, and some of the fathers of the towns or fathers of the village, and say, listen, if you give us some of your people, we give you XYZ. We know make some negotiation. We battle not only in Athens, but we can battle in human beings as well. So back in the days, like I said, say maybe in Maryland County, if my Maryland tribal group, maybe we went and to go hustle around Grand Juda area, and we partner with Grand Judans. We not call ourselves Grand Judans by that time, or Maryland by that time, but we partner with each other, just tribal people, and then we clash, we make war. If I took a Grand Judean and carry him to Maryland as my prisoner for that war, because I don't have that strong family ties to him, to the people I brought from the war, I will sell them to the women. The women will carry them to Europe, and they become slaves to the women. So with this transatlantic, that we call it transatlantic slave trade, after the transatlantic slave trade happened, and our African brothers and sisters were taken into these foreign lands, majority in Europe, and then some of them into Americas. So at some point in time when the war was developing, people thought slavery was not a good thing. Some people thought slavery was not a good thing. So people started to fight against slavery. Ajibor, thank you for coming. Please share the show. Fight against slavery. So in the fight against slavery, Black people started to get their freedom. And then the American Civil War happened, where they tried to unite the United States, and they tried to get rid of slavery from in the South. So the Northern Americans from New York, Pennsylvania on the other side, then Thomas Jefferson decided to go in to fight the people down south, Jim Crow, and get and stop that whole slave trade thing and unite America as one country. So all that thing was going on. Black men took an opportunity in the process to get their freedom as well. So when the Black people started to get free, thank you for coming on, God, man. Share the show. When the Black people started to get free, some of the benefit to that freedom was that they could live and go to school now. Before they couldn't go to school, but some of them started going to school, some of them started learning, some of them started to become vocal, could talk, could advocate for their friends, to free their friends and all that kind of thing. And like African people can born and nobody business too, right? So now the population things started to grow. Some of them were so smart, they started marrying, marrying some white women in too. Some of the men marrying white women, some of the women joining Black women. So they started having mixed, breeds. So the white people felt, and I'm not trying to be racist here, I'm just talking about facts, historical facts. So when the white-skinned Americans saw the dark-skinned American, maybe, and they felt that, look, if we give these guys a chance, they would mingle with us, and they would start to do things we don't want to do. We're not comfortable with them. That's why you had the civil rights movement with Martin Luther King and all the other guys and who felt that they want to break barriers. And when Black men and white men get in the same bus, they should sit down together. You shouldn't spread them apart. Thank you for coming, Emmanuel. Please share the show. They shouldn't spread them apart. So when they started to get uncomfortable, some of the white people who were smart, they say, what happened? They encourage you guys to go back to where they came from. So that's how the ACS was founded. And some Black people too agree, say, yeah, we would like to go back to Africa if that's where we came from. If where our ancestors came from, we want to go back to Africa. Is it a bad thing? No, it's not a bad thing for them to want to go back to where their forefathers came from. It's not a bad thing, right? So somebody agreed, they said they want to go back. So they organized themselves to come back. Now, that's where we started now with Providence Island. The other day, last week, I got 2 schools in Liberia. So one of our schools located at EW Junction, we took our kids to go see Providence Island to see some of the historical things that happened there, where the first slaves that entered Liberia settled in. So the ACS, the American Colonization Society in America, ratted some money. Of course, you think they were just trying to do good to Black people to bring in Africa, but they were actually trying to reduce the population in the United States because they didn't want that Black and white mingling, all right, intermarrying, mingling. All right, so that situation happened, and now so the ACS now start taking Black people to Africa. Some of them went to Sierra Leone, some of them went to the Congo. What today we call that, what we told that Congo people name from, but frankly, that's a misrepresentation of when we say in Liberia, we say Congo people. We will not, few people came from Congo, and that the slave migrated also to back to Liberia, but then they just misinquired by the Congo people. That one but again, we call it American Liberians. All right. So these guys now who are come on those ship of the ACS, thank James for coming on. Please share the show. When the guys came on the ship now, and they came and they settled down on the coast of Liberia, they interacted with our native people on the ground and said, listen, we are just like you, but long before some of our taken from the Africa and carried away, and we were made to work on people's farm and things, but we feel we're more attached to you. We are Africans, we are one. And then so the people say, but yes, our African people, they say, yeah, but that's true. We look at the color of your skin is the same as ours. We may not be saying the same thing, we may not be talking the same way. What you wearing, it may be different from what I'm wearing, but our skin color is the same. And African people have always been very, very hospitable. Africans are very hospitable people. Trust me. So they accepted these people, and the first place they landed on is the Providence Island. Right? The Providence Island. Right on what we got the new bridge around Waterside area there. When you going to Fatan or going to how we call that area, say when you pass it, going to Clareton, or when you around that area there. Other you in Liberia, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who ran off from Liberia and came to America. I wasn't J route and they can't go by that. You didn't blame me. You didn't know the play with your but yeah, so they settled there. Thank you, Lasan, for coming on. Please share the show. So they settled on Providence Island. So let's fast forward the story fast, right? Because we're talking about history, so we know where we're coming from. So we have our own culture. We have our own culture. We have our own way of life. We're led by a patriarchal form of leadership, meaning the head of that family who settled there on a piece of land, and they born, and the owner children born, they made their own town. They call it town Pijo town. Because the man who was the head of that family from the beginning, he became the chief of that town. His children and other family members, they became the people in that town. The higher used to be. Thank you for coming, Edward. Please share the show. How it used to be back in the day. So we didn't have anything called democracy and all that kind of thing. So now, when our people started to develop that kind of family ship and the town got too big, then they said, okay, now the men call the main town chief and all that kind of thing. Paramount chief, clan chief. They're getting bigger now. Paramount chief, clan chief. So as the bigger as the family gets, in the more land they cover, they call they say clan chief, town chief, paramount chief, all the kind of chiefs. Right? All right. So now, so when the ACS brought those American Liberians back, those free slaves to Liberia now, those guys then settled in there. If you want to see some of the deeds, all right, for those lands that they bought on Mama Point there, all the kind of thing, go right in the archive on Broad Street there, all right. Around, I'm not sure where the archives stay around where they had the pavilion and thing, but so the archives will be right around on Broad Street. And but yeah, so the point of the matter, what I'm driving at here now is that when these free slaves came to Liberia, they brought democracy with them because they came from America. They brought democracy with them, and don't forget now, by that time, they already understood what government was or what government could do because those guys have seen the American government in action. They are already seeing how wars have happened and how government had control over lands and other things. So they understood what it means to organize. So they started that organization on Tucor Hill. They used to call it Tucor Hill. And where they call Mama Point today. That were the first, when they left on Providence Island, they put out, I don't want to make it sound so, I won't bring any hate message here, right? But then they forced our native people to sell them Tucor Hill. And some believe they sold it on a gunpoint, meaning they put a gunpoint and say sign a deed. You have to sign a deed and get the land. They took a hill to them because the Providence Island was not ideal for them. Because they were landlocked. Thank you for coming on 2P. Share the show. Andrew, thank you for coming on. So we need to understand this history. So when those free slaves now settled down on that hill and they organized themselves and the same kind of leadership they saw in America, they took it to Liberia. It was not Liberia at that time, but they took it to Africa with them. Then they started organizing themselves. Why they organizing themselves and feeling more comfortable now, going back and forth from America, bringing some of the civilization, we call it, it's arguable to read because civilization depends on a critical thing in civilization is not only Western civilization, they get all type of civilization. In fact, some people believe civilization started in Africa, right? So our people were civilized in their own way, educated in their own way. That we got the bush school, we got the Sunday school, we got the Poro society, and it's a form of education all by ourselves, right? So we're not saying our people were illiterate, they were uncivilized. No, I won't make that kind of argument, because in their own right, they had their own culture, they had their own form of education, everything aspect for coming on. So, but what I'm saying here is that these free slaves that came to Liberia and brought a culture with them as well. So we had a clash of culture. Our traditional culture clashing with Western culture. Our bush school clashing with Western education. Our our traditional leadership style of, you know, a father leading the home, and then that elderly father who from the finish getting last into town, he become now the chief, and think a transition now to what the Western poor brother call, and you know, governor, all the kind of things. So things start to change. Those two systems started to clash. Of course, the powerful one will supersede the weaker one, right? So you hear way back with God have mercy. Oh, way back the story about Mantele Nimpo. That the only history we knew about Mantele Nimpo, then all you know, we used to celebrate Mantele Nimpo Day and all, right? Where they say Mantele Nimpo, there was this major war. Hassan, thanks for coming. Appreciate the show. This major war going between the traditional people and the American Liberian people, the free slaves, and then Mantele Nimpo climbed on the Duka Hill and did the canoe, and she fought that canoe. I say it's still the girl design of it. It may not be the exact same one, but the girl design of it in Providence Island right now. And my children from my school went there last week. They were even showing them. I got pictures of it, similar something. She fired the canoe and said that what brought the end to the tribal people fighting the American Liberian. But I brought this to say that the powerful culture always dominate the minority culture, the less powerful culture. So what happened was that the free slaves dominated, right? So now, while the free slaves now were there, James Monroe, President James Monroe of the United States of America at that time, gave them some money, and, you know, to expand the governance structure to support what they were doing in Liberia. So whatever they were doing in Liberia, when they got those support and those funding and things, they started organizing themselves more. They started taking more lands. That's how they end up reaching to a point and saying, you know, I think we can make this a country. Meantime, don't forget, in the same time, way back around Maryland area there, where they get the Ivory Coast, the French were there. The French forces, the Europeans, the French forces were there, taking lands that coming into Maryland area. That they took some of the land from Liberia in the Maryland area there. At the same time, in Guinea, from the south of Guinea, the French were also there. The French were in charge of Guinea. The American Liberians were taking over what we call Liberia today, Providence Island. Then they took over Ducal Hill and then started spreading themselves. The French were doing the same thing from Guinea side. So they were taking land into Guinea. The same thing started happening from what we got Sierra Leone. The British people were there. So they started taking land from the Sierra Leone side. So the tribal people now, when native people tried to fight them, but again, they didn't have the firepower. Just the ones in Monrovia area, they didn't have the firepower. The ones that in Maryland, the ones that in Nima, Grand Juda area, the ones that in Cape Mount area, the Lofa area, they couldn't stand the French and the British, the native people, because they didn't have the firepower, right? So that's where you remember, if you read our history, to tell you that then the guys in Monrovia and the free slaves, they formed what they call the militia forces. The militia forces in the 1800s, the early 1800s. The militia forces. Then the militia forces now try to organize themselves to be able to serve some kind of purpose of protecting lands in Liberia. Then that militia force, when they secured their own area, now they were in from the native people and consolidated their own the power over the native people in order the small villages and towns. Then they turned it into what they call the frontier forces. The frontier forces now will extend beyond those towns and villages of our native people and go all the way to where the French and the British people were to man the territorial area that we call Liberia now. And then over time, the frontier forces now will turn into what we call the armed forces of Liberia to protect the lands. But I say all of this to say that So all of those things that were going on there, our traditional culture was dominated and overshadowed by the Western culture, a Western form of governance. So we're in our own culture now. I'm going to go back and show you something. Our own culture now was that instead of it being the head of the family and chiefs and other kind of thing, and I moved now into governor. From governor now decided to have, president. From president, everything now was governed by those American Liberians. They declare independence. You all know they declare independence. They ask the British people to come and help them to protect them, or they ask the Americans to help them to get in arms and come and protect them. Oh yeah, they did all of those things. They protect, they declare themselves independent, blah blah blah. Then we end up now with democracy. Even the democracy they brought to us was not too solid, meaning, there was still this same discrimination that they suffer while they were in America. They use the same discrimination to suffer our own people in Liberia, where the native people became the houseboys, became the errand boy, the shoe shine boy, the one who would carry the chimon bucket outside, the one who would cut the grass. So the native people now became their quote unquote form their slave, and even some of them were sold. Why the free slaves were freeing themselves from America and coming to Liberia, some of them were selling African people, they sent African people back into slavery to Europeans. It's in our history. So to cut long matter short, we got democracy through this process. Democracy is not our thing as native people. So I see, now I'm going to make some of you guys vex. Right? I'm going to make some of you guys vex. I'm going to use a terminology that will make some of you guys vex. When I see the country people when I see the country people in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, destroying our governance structure, then it reminds me why when those when those free slaves came to Liberia, they didn't believe that our native people, were fit enough to govern. Now, after I was saying I was using that word to just make it verse, right? And I'm gonna pivot that same word again to the America side. That's the same reason why in America here, the people that were white skinned and had democracy did not believe in their head. Up to now, some of them still do not believe that black person clever enough to be leaders. They didn't believe it. Up to now, some of them still don't believe it. That's why some of them did not respect Barack Obama. Never respected Barack Obama. Some of them were vexed when Barack Obama became president. Some of them were vexed when this lady, Kamala Harris, became vice president. Some of them that's why some of them even did not vote for her to become president in this country, because they feel black people do not have the capacity to govern, to lead. So that same mentality they used on the African American in America here, when they went to Africa, into Liberia too, they used the same mentality against their own African brothers, because they felt they were a better form of African, especially those who had light skin. Those who had light skin, they felt they were a better form of leaders than anyone else in the country, than the native people. That's why if you go back in our history, if you go back into our history book and look at the legislature, you will barely see any native man down there. If you go back to your history, all the presidents were having for many years, you will not see no red native men there. Until then, I come back now to the terminology why I use when I say countrymen, when I see the countrymen. The country, when I say countrymen, it's not an insult. You see, it's just a form of identity. But it's derogatory in the sense that when those terms are used, they are meant to make us to feel like, listen, you are not worth the salt. But is it true? No. It is not true that we are not worth the salt, but for some reason, that is not what, our culture prepare us for. Back in the day, the town chief was the town chief. You go up, you come down. The town chief was the town chief. And the clan chief was the clan chief. The paramount chief was the paramount chief. Way back when they said there's the era that the Big Joe who owned the town. Big Joe was the owner of the town until Big Joe died. Nobody contested with Big Joe. Nobody fought with Big Joe until Big Joe died, and Big Joe's son was the one who identified the town with next. So we had this democracy now where the people want us to say now that we can come now and vote for leaders. There's not a thing where you say, oh, I don't want to start at the town, so I don't want now the chief of the town. We are in the town now, we decide who among us can lead the town. But that's not how we used to do it before. So it's hard for us. It is very hard for us. That's why Liberia has always had a superior presidency. The president come to power, instead of him being accommodating, inclusive, and wanting to open arms to all his fellow Liberians, the president wants to bring power around him and consolidate power. And at the end of the day, people are treated badly. It brings us now to where the current conversation is happening at the national legislature. 1979, after the Rest riot with Talbot, though 1980 successfully killed Talbot in a coup. I was small by that time, but I remember we were living in Oro by that time. My mother was living in Oro. Peace be unto her. We were living in Oro. We used to go on the James Springsfield airfield when Talbot leaving the country. You can't hear higher and you wear high suit. We lay stick in hand with candy, and you would throw candy to us. We'll be on the airfield. They would throw candy to us. We'll pick our candy, and we'll be licking our candy. We'll be waving to the president. The president get on the plane. At that time, it was a Liberian plane. Get on the plane, and he leaves. Right? So I was small at that time, but I still had the mind when I saw when Talbot got killed, with people dance in the street. Native woman born soya ke, soya ke, Talbot, all kind of things dance. And now the native people, since that time, governance shifted from the American Liberians, from the light-skinned Liberians to the dark-skinned native Liberians, with the mentality that when you chief, you alone take everything, kind of a mentality in our subconscious. So now we come into this, the people. President Tuckman built this beautiful building here called the Capitol Building on Capitol Hill. We call it now our native boys and our country boys and the enter Capitol Building. The place where back in the day, I used to go to Capitol Building when I was much smaller. And I used to go to the executive mansion after the civil crisis. I used to go visit Mr. Barbara Senior. Peace be unto him. Barbara Senior. Because Barbara Senior and my father, Johnny Pearson, used to work together at the what we call today the Free Zone Authority to Bourgeois Island there. All right. What we call St. Paul Bridge there. My father used to work there along with Mr. Barbara. So I used to go to the executive mansion. We used to play all in that mansion after the war when Barbara was there. So when you go in those buildings, you see beauty. Look, listen. I remember one time I saw a video. I saw this video with President Tuckman, and the general was asking President Tuckman, asking President William V.S. Tuckman, and said, Mr. President, he said, I see that you are trying to develop your country. He said, yeah, we're trying to develop our country. He said, but you have strong ties with America. Why is it that you're not getting the support you need from America to build these he said, yeah. He said our government buildings, our government offices are in private buildings all around Ducor here. Because how they used to call it by the day Ducor. Our offices in all private buildings, and we are trying to take government offices from private buildings. And I went to America and I talked to my counterpart and I asked them for support to build the Capitol. They were talking about I seen Capitol building to build a Capitol building, and they said they didn't have money. So I had to find money by myself through my other friends then to give me money to build that Capitol. So which means that Capitol building, see down there, so when William V.S. Tuckman built that Capitol building, they got in hustle hard. They lobby. Not even America getting money, lobby other places. They built a Capitol building, historic building. And so when the people entered that building with a pipe in the mouth, with a cigar in the mouth, they treated that building with respect. With respect. Which one of us that were born early enough to have seen those so-called quote-unquote Congo people there in that building? Which one of us were fortunate to see one day ever heard that they went in that building, they were fighting, they were forcing, or they were breaking doors like our people? Or that they were even imagine somebody would even imagine, oh, they carry kerosene and they put fire on the building. Did you ever hear since the Capitol building was built when we had when the so-called Congo people were there? You ever saw one day that you heard on radio that the speaker and the men in the other House of Representatives were fighting each other in the House of Representatives, or they were causing each other man, causing each other apart? You ever heard about? We never heard that kind of thing. Not one day. Now the country people go there now. We ourselves saying, they marginalize us, and they make us into the horse boarding, they make us into the slave, then we carry chimon bucket. We didn't. Now our time to govern, our time to rule. We enter into that sacred building. We enter into that sacred building. We enter into that building where how money was paid to fix that property. We go there, we're breaking it down because we're fighting for power. Countrymen want to be town chief. Countrymen in democracy, you want to be town chief. Everybody wants to be the chief of the town. You get what I'm saying? And that's why, I don't want to make, I don't want to make anybody vex with the Congo man and native man thing. But that's the reality of the day. That's the reality of the day. Johnny Lewis was justice minister. Johnny was justice minister on the Supreme Court bench. Justice minister on the Supreme Court bench. When nothing happened with Edwin Snow, Johnny Lewis clearly, emphatically, with the whole Supreme Court bench, said Edwin Snow is the legitimate speaker of the House of Representatives, and if they want to remove the man, you got to go through due process. If they ain't go through due process, we'll not recognize what you guys do. They had the program in there for State of the Nation address. Johnny Lewis and whole cabinet didn't go there, didn't put their foot there. So this is not the first time ever happened. This one that you see here, so it was not the first time. They want to happen with President Parker. It's not the first time. Johnny Lewis did the same thing. He said, we're not putting our foot there. Okay, now fast forward. You take the Congo man, you take the Congo man from Supreme Court bench, you put so country people in there now. All Supreme Court people in there, so country people in there. To make one clear rule, to make one clear opinion for the Liberian people. And tell them, say, my poor Liberian people, now that we the native people are in power, we're in control of Liberia right now, we cannot go and desecrate our own laws. We cannot go and break the, even though that's not our culture, that's not how we started it. We used to be town chief, we used to be paramount chief, we used to be king. And that's how we traditional how Africa is. We let king. Go to Ghana, royal family, king. Go to Nigeria, royal family, king. They put broad democracy, they're forcing us. We call the Congo people, they're forcing us. Yeah, we agree. We won't be part of what they say they're doing. We say we accept it. Now we're controlling temple, we're controlling the whole Supreme Court bench. That native people. You go into the House of Representatives, that native people. You go in the mansion, that native people. Then we just press chakla. We just embarrassing ourselves. Embarrassing ourselves. So yeah, we're embarrassing ourselves. Why would the native man move from in the village where he stays sleeping untouched, all right, and lapa for dough? You can't in the civilized town, in the civilized city. You say you won't be government official. You go to the government where people taxpayer money was spent. They think where our people didn't pay high money for to build that Capitol building, historic building that. You carry picking inside there. They take chase all the door down. Chase all the door down. Chase it down. They want to be proud people. That it doesn't make us to be proud people. No, it does not. It's sad. It's sad. All right, now fast forward. So the whole confusion now, I don't even want to go back into the history of the confusion because we all know what the confusion is. The confusion is simple. The people who made the laws, the very lawmaker, then the other minister said lawmaker, the people who made the law before they got there said, listen, the Constitution said, thank God to Amos Sheridan, who did it in 1986 Constitution and tried to balance it out, even though they were working on a military regime, but they tried to make it look better, small. It's a simple, man. Listen, there will be 73 in the house here called, oh no, not 73, but y'all be in the House of Representatives to represent your people from different parts of Liberia. Every now and then, after every 4 years, we do a census, we count how many people in Liberia. When we count how many people in Liberia, then we take the number of people in Liberia and divide it into different districts and things, and then we determine how many person you're going to represent, then how many person gonna be represented. You'll go in there and go represent your people in there. Right? So now today, because of that dividing, today we get 73 lawmakers. The law simple. The law say, okay, when you go and your people elect you and you go in a House of Representatives, the first thing you need to do is to see, you need to vote among yourself who will become your speaker and your deputy speaker. Simple majority. So everybody voted. President Baka won the election. They went inside there. First thing President Baka did, he said, happy Speaker Kofa that do I say this man? He can't become Speaker of the House. They won't carry the minister of Supreme Court. He can't hold. So he lead the man. President Baka turn around and take money, Liberian poor money. He sent it to the House of Representatives. Yaga called back corner. Whoa! Somebody try to bribe me so we can remove Speaker Kofa. That whole thing died down. Yaga Kofa carry the report to National Police to go investigate the business that the coupons supposed to go to that are using to bribe the legislator. No, they went to Kun. Not Jeremiah Kun. Richard Kun. Front Page Africa sent a journalist to Richard Kun. Ask Richard Kun, what are we hearing that you guys want to plot because you didn't win the election against Speaker Kofa? They told you ran to become speaker. You didn't win, but we're hearing rumor that you want to be speaker. He said, no. I don't want to be speaker. I'm having meeting only because I want to support. Whatever agenda my President Baka has, so that Speaker Kofa can be in collaboration, can support Baka agenda. Go look there. It's there. Newspaper there to that effect. He said they didn't want. Now why we're breeding, they were finding ways. So they say, happy, the best we can do now, let's go back to Mana early time where they kind of same strategy that you that just walk away from insertion and lead and say, so they carry people in RLJ. After they start to bribe people with some money, and some lawmaker again grab the money, say happy, they're trying to bribe us again. They carry the money to LSCC more close. Ooh, they can't say nothing. Why they can't say nothing? Because President Baka has started firing all the 10 new people there. So everybody is afraid to say anything. Okay, let me pause here for a bit. LSCC boss supposed to be independent, shouldn't be afraid of the president. But when the LSCC boss see you can fire central bank governor, LSCC boss see you can fire LTA 10 position commissioner, LSCC boss see you can fire all the things that's all be protected by law that you, President Baka, son. You start firing those protected positions. What do you think LSCC will say? I see my junior brother. Martin Colley. I admire Martin Colley so much. That's why you see I don't take time to write anything funny about young people in Liberia. I don't do that because I think we are just victim of circumstances. Young people, we victim of circumstances. All right. So I admire Martin Colley. Martin Colley doing his best. Martin Colley showing corruption charges. President Baka suspending people for corruption charges. Why is the PPCC boss still sitting now as PPCC head when PPCC is the one that giving approval for Maynard Moali got in power? The same week Moali got in power, he gave contract over $50,000 contract to a company that was not even 1 week old. He gave it people for the something that when the Brian Spoon FM or Spoon Talk and standing there acting and say, hey, I can do it anytime. I give it to a Liberian company. I will support a Liberian company. It's not about a Liberian company. It's about the rule of law. You bypass the the PPCC law, the PML law. You give public money, 58,000 to a company that's not even 1 month old. You get a company of $50,000. How do you know that they got the credibility, that they got the capacity to manage public money of that magnitude when you yourself just come in power? You just come in office. You even sit in the office, go here to know well what to do. You sit on existing structure and run. There were original institutions there functioning. Use them until you understand what you're doing. No, bro, you jump, give $70,000 out to somebody. PPCC overlooked that. Why PPCC is there having the head? Because why? Noka, the Noka, Swak Golden that in LCC investigation right now. If you look at the list from which that $75,000 car is there for Swakopmund. On a Swakopmund name, you get 3 or 4 other people name on there for $55,000 car. Why they still in their offices? Those other people who received the $55,000 for car, $55,000 for car, $55,000, all of them in violation of the PMF law. They are all in violation of the law. They shouldn't be riding car for $55,000. No. So why only Swakopmund? Why only Swakopmund? But not only that, but the board of Noka signed off on it. They agreed. They say, yeah, Swakopmund will ride $75,000 car. They say, yeah, the other one ride $55,000 car. The other one ride $55,000 car. If you look at that piece of paper I'm talking about that they signed with that car, a computer, and other things, it came down to $300,000+, almost $500,000. Almost $500,000. That $500,000 is separate from the other bogus contract that they gave to another company to have no expertise in what Swakopmund gave the company to go do some assessment, whatever, development, whatever. Are you kidding me? But all those things are approved by PPCC. So what would the PPCC say? So all the institutions are compromised. Now let's go by the way I was saying. Sorry for going off course for a while, but I had to go off course for a while. I'm only saying this to say, so even when the lawmakers carry their complaint to LCC and say, look, we got evidence that the lawmakers then are under duress and they are under stress to take money to remove Speaker Kofa. Even after they say that, LCC must lack from last year to today, they have not said nothing about that. Nothing they have said about that. The last time they interviewed the LCC head, she said, the councillor said, oh, you know, we're still investigating, we're still looking into it. You're still looking into it. No, you're afraid you will lose your job. You're afraid President Barker will come after you if you don't do what President Barker wants you to do. Somebody will say, oh, no, it's not true. Yeah, but then why the PPCC people signing all the bogus corruption money that we are all talking about on social media? Why are those monies passing through PPCC and they are not saying anything? PPCC compromise. Oh, you say no, they didn't compromise. So why is it President Barker fired the CBL, suspended the CBL governor, and appointed a new governor, acting governor, only to find out later on that he paid that man $300,000 plus to buy him out of there so he countryman can get a job? Why did Darius Deloney and the senators then, why did they say confirm the man knowing what happened? Why? The country is totally undermined. The country is totally undermined. Now let me leave that. You think I'm joking? Okay, now let's go to the election commission. Why you think the election commission, which within the constitution itself say the election commission shall be an autonomous agency, separate, it cannot easily be interfered with. It is one of the 3 institutions, along with GSC and Central Bank, that is inside the constitution itself. I'm not saying the act that created them. It's inside the constitution that the election commission shall be separate. It cannot be interfered with politically. Why would President Barker have the audacity to go and suspend the election commission chairperson without first of all establishing a case, going to court and finding the person guilty, and on the basis of that guilt, dismiss the person? Why? Because again, go back to what we're saying. People want to carry that native concept, that king and queen mentality. They want to rule everything. They want to hijack everything. So yeah, we have the situation in the House of Representatives. So I'm saying this to say that we are in a troubling time. We're breaking doors in the Capitol building. Can you imagine that? Now, not only breaking doors, let me share something with you. Let me tell you what it comes down to. So you need 2/3 majority. So if you are in the House of Representatives, you won't remove the speaker, you need at least something around 48, 47, 48 votes. 48 to 49 votes to remove the speaker. They don't have it, right? They have 44, they have 45, they've been going back and forth. So if you try to remove the president, you cannot remove the president. What do? You go back to status quo ante, you try again, you hustle, you lobby, you get more people, you try again. That's how the law works. That's what they call parliamentary process. Nobody must just say to us, it is politics. It is politics, it's political. No, politics cannot be operated outside of the law. So it is politics. Why didn't politics? So why nobody can just jump up on the street and go into the House of Representatives and say I'm a representative or I'm a senator? Because it's politics. So no law now. So no, you have to register to be a politician. You got to register with NEC as a candidate. You got to register to vote. You got to vote for yourself, and other people got to vote for you. When you come from there, NEC got to certificate you. When NEC certificate you, you got to go and then you get sworn in to become a representative. So if that just politics is not law, then how you got there? Did you just get up by walking into the Capitol building and say, okay, I'm representing now? No, you did not do. President Booker himself did not just walk into the mansion and say, okay, I'm president now. They think ain't about law, the politics we're doing here. So I'm a politician. I'm president today. So are you guys telling me I can just walk now and just go to the library and say, you know what happened today? I came to tell people, Liberian people, plenty people let me in the country. So I'm president from the day on, I'm a president. Then everybody who let me come outside and start demonstrating in the streets, say, yeah, they mean I'm president going on from the day. President Booker ain't doing correct. So they mean I'm president. Or where will we be going? Where will we be going? So former President George Manuel Weah received almost the same amount of vote that President Booker received. 49% of the votes. So President Weah gets on the street tomorrow. Same President Booker finished leaving the country. He gets on the street tomorrow. And he said, all citizens and all those who like me, you come outside. Everybody come outside. I will say, okay, they may get majority. It's not dating, not law, not politics. The men are president. Is that how it works? It doesn't work like that. So we not the native people get the chance to to govern the country. We just pressing chakla all over the place. Pressing chakla. So we carry the king and town chief and paramount chief mentality. We go there. Instead of following the laws as it is, we want to do our own thing. So Kofa say, you know what happened? I can't take law in my own hand. I will call session. When I call session, when there is no quorum, then I have the constitutional responsibility according to Article 49 of the Constitution. I will adjourn from day to day until I get quorum. So he get quorum, so he adjourn. Now you go and sit on the other side and say, oh, you know, we get majority. Yeah, but the majority, the Constitution say, and your rules say, I want to even leave your rule. The Constitution say you need to have a presiding, and the presiding should be the speaker. If the speaker is not there, the deputy speaker. Oh yeah, so yes. So if you even want what a guy named Thomas Father to sit over there, that your road, Thomas Father can't sit down where so you can do your stupidness. When you even ask Thomas Father to come, the speaker was upstairs. The speaker was available. The speaker was in country. The speaker was in the property that you are sitting having meeting. Once you convene a quorum, you must have called the speaker to preside. You cannot preside outside the speaker. So you did your own thing. Kofa said, you know, I can't be lawless. Let's go to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said clearly, you guys have a quorum. But with your quorum that you have, you do not have, we don't see the speaker there. So, but Kofa, you too, you have the Constitution on your side that says you can join from day to day and compel your friends to come to session. But you do not have any rule that you made yourself in your own body. You don't have any rule that say how you will compel your friends. So you know what happened? Majority, people who say you get majority, when you see speaker there, you ain't get no power to do anything there. Everything you do there is illegal. Because the speaker sitting right among you there, or you gotta go honor him. You can't do anything unless he is absent. Then the deputy will take over what the Constitution say, and what the rules say. Kofa, you yourself, you can't take any decision because you have to just adjourn every time you meet. So Kofa is legitimate because he has a constitutional mandate to hold function and adjourn. You guys got the majority agreeing. Nobody arguing that, but you do not have the presence of the speaker to legitimize the session. So you in error. Lawyers in Liberia argue that Supreme Court ruling meant that the majority black was right. Can you imagine that? Not just lawyer, country lawyers. I will say again, I'm using the word to make us vex, because it is after we got in vex and realize that we are the one destroying what is our native land. To reality. Men, God has said, went to Arthur Graham School of Law. After Grand School, when the American Liberians that we used to call Congo people, when they went to Arthur Grand School of Law, They did not even allow countrymen to go there. You know why they didn't allow countrymen to go there? Because of the same reason, the same thing that's happening right now in the country. Because the felt countrymen will not even obey the law. The countrymen will not even obey the law. So our native brothers and sisters could not go to Louis after Grand School of Law. They could not go there. Now, for the family, they didn't say they're going there. Jim Cola didn't say now, they say they're going there. They say they did law. Right? Oswald Twedding said they went there. Louis after Grand School of Law. The other Fiabobo lawyer didn't say they went to other Grand School of Law. They come from in the other Grand School of Law and come and tell the Liberian people that the Supreme Court that ruled for a case, the Supreme Court is wrong. They are the one who know what the Supreme Court say. What sense does that make? It's like you get the author of the book, the man who wrote the book. He said he's still living. He said now you. He wrote a book. He published a book. Then you, the reading, the who bought the man book and reading the book. You say you know the man book. One of the men know his own book. That's why you're dead. Just say you know the book. Now then James Coler then for the family who is a rookie lawmaker, the first time in the people place. Rocky lawmaker then said lawmaker then said they been to Louis after Grand School, so they say they know what they're doing. Then they got the audacity to say they want to interpret the Supreme Court ruling for the family. The reason why the law separate the executive from the legislature and then the judiciary is simple. You for the family are supposed to make the law. The President Bouaka, who is in there, said they're supposed to make sure that lawyer he will enforce it. Then the judiciary sitting on the other side will look at y'all doing your thing. And then when somebody get argument among y'all, they say, oh, we feel something going the right way. Then we go to the Supreme Court or the judiciary, and they will tell us, no, you know what happened? They think you say that even law is not law because the Constitution says even if you make a law and the law is inconsistent with the Constitution, then our law is not involved. So that they own a rule. They are the ones that are sitting there and say, oh, you did such thing. And you, Mr. President, you say you enforce such thing. But when you come together now, you go do that thing you're doing, it's not right. You go back and do it better. That's their own rule. But now you want to be the one who make the law. Then you got to say majority black. You want to be the one who made the law. Then you want to sit down there again and interpret the law to us and to the Supreme Court justices. Then not only that, then you want to go now, not only made the law and interpret the law, then you want to go now and break the doors. Enforce the law for yourself. So now for the family and Jim Coder now, they want to be lawmaker, they want to be law interpreter, then they want to be law enforcer. All three in one. Then what we got the three branches of government for? So they argue now, and I will use it. I want make us vex. I want make us vex. We the countrymen now, the Congo people go. The girl Louis after Grand School of Law, we don't want teaching there, we don't want going there, we don't want learning, we don't want going to the bar association with joining them. Now we're becoming chief justices now, and all that kind of thing. We in charge of the country now. We president everything now. Then we go in and we damaging everything that is. Then when the poor call countrymen will get this. Call countrymen will get it. Right? So let's see. So you got the majority of the moon men go back to status quo. We say no, the court rule in your favor. Then Oswald Twedding, the justice minister, has the audacity to write on a book. You remember when the Supreme Court requested him to appear and give a side of the story to the case in the legislature? His initial response was he didn't have anything to say. He didn't have no role to play there. Okay, so the Supreme Court go and play that role. They send out the ruling. Then he got the audacity now to say interpreting the ruling of the Supreme Court, and then he telling us who is right and who is wrong. The president acting on his order, the senator acting on his order. They're going straight the wrong. Justice Boise get up one day they go on Monday, and this is what Justice Boise say. Please listen, and now I will continue the conversation. Listen what Justice Boise say. Right? Listen.
You know, some time ago, when we elected now for the president address, they begin more of the news and the address itself. That was the whole way of trying to avoid getting involved in potential conflict. You remember the conflict going on at the House, the Supreme Court, when they appeared before us. we made a decision, and the effect of that decision was that look, our law requires that the house should have a quorum, and that quorum should be presided over by a speaker. Now that you, the quote unquote majority black, have a quorum, but we don't see a speaker there. So whatever you do is ultra viral. Otherwise, it's illegal. We turn to the minority black. The law says until you can get majority, you get quorum, you must continue to adjourn from day to day and compare the other people to join. But there's no statute that tells you how you will compare the people. You don't have a rule that tells you how you will compare the people. So you two will remain there until you get majority. Whatever you do is ultra viral. So on both sides, the Supreme Court clearly saying that go and solve your problem. You don't have law to that effect. We are doing our own. We're not in control of politics. If for some reason the Senate decide to recognize majority black, President recognize majority black, and government function is going on, then we receive an invitation from the speaker. Our question is, our presence there means that we are recognized one side of the plan. So the best thing to do was to remain who we are. That was the rationale. Many people don't understand, but that was the rationale of the court.
So you hear what he said? He said the thing was simple. He said, we told the guys, look, gentlemen, y'all want to do this or y'all want to do that. We ain't got problem with it, but we're telling you, for y'all to have a quorum, you also need to have the speaker, the legitimate speaker sitting on there for your function to be considered legitimate. No, but you don't have it. So since you don't have it, we cannot acknowledge you and what you're doing there. Everything you will be doing there is considered ultra vires, meaning it's null and void. You go back and you're rethink what you're doing. In the same way, he said to the other guys, he said, we look on the other side too, we see Speaker Kofa, we say Speaker Kofa, we hear your complaint and all the things he's trying to say. But all the things he's trying to say, this is the problem with you. You don't have, even though your rules say you can meet from day to day, but you have to adjourn until you can bring your friends in together. But we see any rule you made that say you can bring how you will bring your friend in. So the two sides, you go back and you go solve your problem. In other words, you go back and sit on your normal way you can do things, and you put so there are two things can happen there. One, the majority black who say they get the majority vote can go and say, okay, this is what we do. So we get a majority, we'll put our petition on the floor, and then we vote and we get Kofa from there. If they can work, good. Continue Liberian people business. Speaker Kofa can go and say, okay, now we're back in the place. They don't made a rule as to how we can enforce people to come out there. Fair enough. But then the work goes on. But no, country people got to spoil things. They got to break doors. They got to press chakla. Now, this is the most embarrassing thing. And I'm going to play this other video for you. This is the most embarrassing thing. Where for the family comes up today now, and after you heard the associate justice saying what the associate justice said, clarifying what they meant by what they said. Let's not for the family insulting the associate justice, insulting the Supreme Court. Listen to him. Listen to him. Did you hear what he said? I'll play again. Therefore, I will explain what he said. Maybe for those who don't understand, I will explain what he said. Listen again. So, representative Musa Berete made this statement before they said that thing. Listen to what Musa Berete said. Sorry, I got called back. Okay, let's go back. It's Richard. It's what his name? They got called back. And even Musa Hassan Berete made the same motion, but the motion was that we just heard that Justice Wesse clarified what they meant when they did the opinion. So now that we heard the justice opinion, we are saying we want to have a motion where we can discuss what Justice Wesse said. Now, what Reverend Koroba is saying. Listen. So Yaka Koroba is saying in a statement, the Supreme Court made the Supreme Court Justice Wesse has said clearly what the Supreme Court meant that was misinterpreted by the majority black. So I move, if I can be accepted, let's discuss that what Wesse said. It was when for the formula came out to say this, that you know what, I'm not here for that kind of nonsense. In fact, we're here for liquor talk. In other words, the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, for the formula is saying, who say he went to Louis Arthur Grant School of Law? For the formula who say he know law, because it's attorney at law, he's in the bar, I know, the Liberian Bar Association. Who say he is a lawyer in the bar. He says he's not here to entertain a liquor talk. In other words, a drunken man talk. So which means the Associate Justice Wesse is a drunkard, and you are talking King Jew talk. Listen to him again. And by the time he said that, Musa Berete, Yaka Koroba, all of them jump on him in the stopping from going any further. Is that what the countrymen supposed to go into our sacred chambers and say to another branch of government, not only just a judge, but an associate justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia, a man like Representative Foley family, first time in the House of Representatives, first time ever being placed in an elected position in the country, goes on radio, on air with journalists around and say on camera, I will not give relevance to a liquor talk. He considered the words of the Associate Justice in chamber a liquor talk. He considered the assembly of the Associate Justice in the opening of the term of court. The opening of the term of court, no, the court can close and open, right? In the opening of the term of court, when Justice Wesse made a statement. Now he's saying they're more in a King Jew shop. The function, the official function of Justice Wesse, he's termed as a King Jew shop. Is that Liberia? I'll play again. He said the man made a liquor statement sitting in a King Jew shop. Liberia, how can we come so low? But I don't blame him. I blame President Parker, who sent security people to protect these guys when they were in RLJ and trying to usurp the government, trying to hijack the House of Representatives. President Parker facilitated them. I blame more Ali them. I blame Gaffon them, who gave the budget to this people. I blame the House of Representatives and our elected officials who gave people that for this formula the audacity to say they're sitting in the opening of the term of court as a King Jew shop, in that the Associate Justice Wesse giving us clarity on the opinion of the Supreme Court is a liquor conversation. It's a liquor talk. How did we get here? How did we get here? People, how did we get here? This is so embarrassing for our country. This is so embarrassing. So after today's, when nothing happened, this is what Musa Berete said. And now we'll close on this whole conversation here.
And the trust of the Liberian people.
Yeah, let us know what Musa Berete said.
The integrity of our democracy and the stability of our economy and the trust of the Liberian people and our international partners. We call on our colleagues to respect the decision of the Supreme Court and to work with us towards a resolution that is consistent with the rule of law. As of today, we have resolved that we no longer sit under their leadership as the court has declared their actions unlawful. Instead, we will continue to work with Speaker Kofa and convene with him as necessary in accordance with Article 33 of the Constitution, which allows us to meet and adjourn in the absence of a quorum.
So yeah, so Musa Berete got a group they call the Rule of Law caucus, meaning they want to stay within the confines of the law, which is a good thing. And they are the ones that always run to the courts. Run to the court. They don't take matter and like the guys in the for the family and that no, listen. Liberia will need to do better. We need to do better. God, we have to do better because are using our word carefully and intentionally to provoke us. The Congo people did not use that building. The Congo people did not do like this. The Congo people did not do this. We the native people we say we're marginalized. We're this, we're that. We crack. Now we get the power to be in the legislature. We got the power to be at the Supreme Court level, right? Then we got the power to be in the executive mansion, and then we treat our country like this. We embarrassing the country like this. I think it's unfair, man. It's unfair. Let's go to our next topic. Welcome to the melting pot. The melting pot. Look, listen. On the melting pot for the sustainable development think tank, we just discussed the issue. We just want to be a part of Liberia's conversation. We want Liberian people to know what's going on, understand what's going on in the country, and be a part of it. Let your voices be heard. This is not one man country. This is not one man thing. We all got to have a say, right? So let's look at the President Boubacar suspend around 457 people for asset declaration. Right? Let's talk about this too small. Let's talk about asset declaration issue. So the asset declaration, whole thing about asset declaration comes within the confines, within the perimeter of what they call the code of conduct. So one of the things the code of conduct requires us to do is to make sure that when we want to become an elected official, certain position in government, before we get there because of corruption, before we even take office, we should go to the LACC and declare our assets, meaning we should tell the government through the LACC what is in our accounts as we come into the government, and we should tell them what we owe, your assets and your liability, right? So people, when President Boubacar then were advocating and doing their lobbying for position in government, one of the things President Boubacar said was he would fight corruption. Right? And corruption is not so easy to fight. Corruption is difficult to fight. So we'll fight corruption. Now, in fighting corruption now, one of the things you got to do is to declare assets. So President Boubacar, even though he himself declares asset late, he been going back and forth. People in those small us have been on it back from day one. So he finally declared asset. After he declared asset, he been encouraging other people to declare the asset. Councillor Copper Kra from Labor Ministry, Amos Tue from LPRC challenged the ombudsman. First of all, when they were not trying to declare the asset, when we're complaining, so it gotta be the ombudsman who have to enforce it. So President Boubacar appointed the ombudsman. The ombudsman got appointed, now the man trying to enforce it. Everybody declared the asset, or they will lose. They were recommended to lose their job. They took the man to the Supreme Court. Can you imagine that? So in other words, Even President Bokka's statement that he should declare the asset was not sufficient for the people who he appointed. And we all know that before, when President Bokka was appointing people, even to a tenure position that he's supposed to be appointing people to, they were the same one who were arguing he got the right to appoint and dismiss. But now the man telling you, say, go declare assets. Then you say, oh, is our right to be in politics? I see that is our right. Not all kind of trying to bypass the law, right? Okay, good. But come to think about it, right? Come to think about it. After over 12 months of not declaring the assets, President Bokka comes up and he says, you know what happened? All those who have not declared the asset, after I beg them, I complain, I do that, they are all suspended. So I don't have a problem with that. I clap for President Bokka for that on that point. I clap for President Bokka for that on that point. Sorry for my dog. Clap for President Bokka on that point. But this is the thing. This is the thing, right? What is bothering me is a majority of the time when President Bokka is taking decision, sometimes I wonder who are the advisors? Who are the advisors? Because the list that was existing at the time President Bokka made a statement has created more confusion than even the asset declaration have created. Major confusion. Because the first thing some people name are on list that already declared an asset. There's some people who have not declared an asset and not on the list. And there's some people who knew on the list, even in government. So the question I'm asking myself now is that for the kind of leadership that Liberia needs, before the president makes some major decisions in the government, you have to have some critical meetings. So let me say what I'm saying. I'm not saying the president did a bad thing. The president did a good thing. That people who have not declared an asset, in fact, if they left with ILO, they should be dismissed. They should be dismissed. Not even saying, I suspend, they should be dismissed. But the thing about them being dismissed is that all being suspended is that you must have had. The president must, who are the people around President Bokka? Who are the people around President Bokka? So, couldn't they have, because what I saw was Kuda Fofana tapped the suspension notice, right? She posted it on Facebook, on the Executive Mansion Facebook. Good. Right after that, some started asking questions, but why is it that you post people suspended, but you don't add the list? You don't put a list, because without the list, there's a lot of confusion right now. Nobody knows who is suspended, who is not suspended. So who is suspended? Who's not suspended? You can't, it's like when the president was appointing people, they were send those long lists and they kind of say, please disregard the old list, go by the new list. Who does that? This is the same thing we're talking before. So why don't you say these names were initially appointed to this position, but they have been officially replaced by these other names? Everybody knows exactly what you're talking about. That's the reason why when President Bokka was appointing people, somebody will go to the office, to go take over, to go meet somebody else there. The two posters making false money say, no, I didn't want the president appointed. No, I didn't want the president. Okay, you're on a letter here. But you're on a letter here. So we had that confusion. Some people are being appointed. Why somebody at the Senate there having confirmation, and then the president, but we just receive another list from the president for the same position. All this confusion. Why are they doing this to the country? Why? The same with the asset declaration, the asset recovery stuff. The president goes to appoint an asset recovery team. We immediately bounce on the president and say, listen, the asset recovery team has to have professional people on it. Professional people have to be on that asset recovery. It's not who ran your campaign. It's not who gets sharp mouth. It's about the professional people with the professional skills and the professional experience that are able to do the work that the international community will respect. We said that the Unity Party, what we call the Unity Party, supporter there, jump on Facebook there, on social media there, condemning us and saying a lot of things. Where did the asset recovery stop? Nowhere. The first thing we saw was that instead of them going to do research, making a file profiling all the situation they want to go through, going and getting court order and all that kind of thing, no, they do none of that. One money that kind of gangster with a just buy a vest and put it on there, jump on the street. Let's say the police packing people's cars, doing another one here, doing another one there. Somebody said, what's going on here? Oh, the asset recovery. Asset recovery, how? Everybody ran into court. Today, asset recovery, whole thing got stuck in the courts. Some of us were saying, President Boubacar, LACC is created for the very same purpose. For any reason, LACC, you don't want to use LACC, then you want to have a specialized committee to pay special attention to asset recovery. Then within the LACC, go in the LACC and establish a unit there only for asset recovery, reporting to the LACC commissioner or the LACC managing director or the LACC director. Simple. Or this committee on the LACC is going to report directly to me. Simple. Because if you went, I challenge anybody, if you went to LACC website just now, you tap the LACC in your web browser, and LACC website shows up. Click on where they get the menu. You will see the asset recovery. It's part of their function. Because LACC goes after corrupt people. LACC has the power to take the corrupt people to court and prosecute them. LACC has the power now to seize government property, government funds, government this from the corrupt people. So they already have the mechanism. They already have the architecture. All you need to do was to empower them. Empower them, and that's it. Once you empower them, they go and they do what they need to do. But no. You see? So now asset recovery, I think the Supreme Court is supposed to rule on the asset recovery case with the gracious right, challenging their legitimacy, because according to the Constitution, for the president to establish any kind of commission or thing like that or stuff like that, it has to be through the legislature. All right, so that's what the challenge, and the Supreme Court is supposed to say something about that. But if the Supreme Court ruled, will President Boubacar listen? That's another point. It's because for the formula saying the Supreme Court justices that liquor authority talking at the Supreme Court. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Where our country going to? Where our country going to? And I put this new down post off for a purpose. Now let me say one or two things and move on to something else, right? So one of the key things about this whole thing I'm talking about, so when President Boubacar realized that he had to take the decision, how much time did he put into this as a good leader to say, listen, I got Louis Brown at the United Nations. Louis Brown is at the United Nations, and Louis Brown is advocating for us to be a permanent member seat, to have a permanent member seat on at the United Nations. So Louis Brown is an important person. You want to thin that man repetition. You don't want to impinge his repetition, because he's the face of the government at the United Nations. So you want to be careful. At the same time, you are saying assign content to the Americas here, where you already got people that George, you got people like the Elon Musk. I mean, arrogant, rude people like Elon Musk. You got Trump, who consider whole Liberia to be something like who, and all kind of thing, disrespectful to Africa to begin with. Then you send your own African ambassador here to United States to be ambassador. Then the men on that list as well. Am I saying Louis Brown shouldn't declare asset? No, that's not what I'm saying. Am I saying what is what the name again? Hassan Contest shouldn't declare asset? No, I'm not saying that. I'll move if I answer the question. Then they go to LACC. LACC is struggling. LACC is struggling right now. The Liberian people are suffering under LACC. LACC needs leadership. Then all of the people that President Boubacar put over LACC as the managers, all of them on that list that did not declare asset, that got suspended. They leave that. LDA, Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. Drug is killing Liberians. Drug is a major issue right now. 2 of the drug enforcement top deputy for administration, deputy for operation, they're on that list. So let's assume that everybody functioning, everybody working, everybody doing a job. One morning you just work out and say, president say, everybody dismiss. Pack your tools, turn away your computer, turn away your car, turn away all you go on. You're suspended because you didn't declare your asset. Am I saying that decision to suspend them is wrong? No. Is that decision a good idea? Yes. But was the implementation correct? No. Because as a manager, you have to do damage control. You have to do risk management. If I suspend a man like this, what mechanism do I have in place that when this man is turning that computer over, or when the man is closing the office door and he walking away, what mechanism is in place to protect the LDC? What mechanism is in place to protect the LDA, that the function of the LDA will not be hindered? What mechanism is in place that the ambassador at the US will not be embarrassed by this decision? What mechanism is in place that the ambassador at the UN will not be will not be embarrassed, but that will not give a bad view, a bad look for my country, for my own face, my own government in the official capacity that they are working? How can I deal this out in a mature way? So who are around the president? I'm not talking about Jeremiah Pierre and the brainless guy who told a gangster. They call it information minister, and he told a gangster and who just there to just give derogatory words against former president, other kind of thing. No, this is not CDC and Unity Party. This is about the image of the Republic of Liberia. So if I have a house and I don't like that I'm going to Dar es Salaam now, and I don't like the mosquito that in the house, and the mosquito gave me hard time in the house, should I therefore go now and put the whole house on fire? So no, the president's decision to suspend these officials was a good idea. It showed a good sign of to fight corruption. It showed a good political will. It showed that he means business and he's not going to be taken for granted. But how did he play the execution? Because that's where leadership comes in. That's why I'm saying, who is advising President Boyka? Leadership is not because you got vexed and you took action. Leadership is because you got vexed and you took an action that is well balanced. Right? It's well balanced. So yeah, mosquito in my house, and I don't like the mosquito. I'm going to spray the whole house with chemical. But will I leave material in the house and spray the house with chemical and then kill material in the process? No, I will not do that. I will not do that. You cannot do that. Our country people used to say, then they put it on, our country people put it another way. They say you cannot throw the baby out with the bath water. That's why leadership comes in. And that's why we have problem with President Boyka. President Boyka, you are not leading. You are not leading. You're not leading. So now the LCC head now have to come on all the different radio stations in Liberia to clarify, because somebody just grab her list. They not do due diligence with her list. They just grab her list, whether she published a list 13 months ago, whether she published a list 5 months ago, whether the list has been updated or not updated. Nobody cared. They just bam, made a whole big explosion, everything into it. Then I bring me to my political leader, Alexander Cummings, who said we are now seeing the experience. the experience in action. Yeah, that's what we're seeing now. The experience is seeing in action. My last talking point for today, and like any Liberian out there, like any Liberian out there, my talking point today, the last talking point today is focused on the young man that was killed yesterday in Banjo by a police officer. Remember, some time ago, the other guy see on the screen there too, he also shot a 19-year-old guy, a 19-year-old boy, killed him, cold blood. He had to go to court, and I think he's supposed to be in jail, or maybe that Jeff Flo show, Gregory Coleman and there, maybe he out there again. We don't even know, because these things they can say they investigate him. By the time we look, we don't know what's going on again. But again, another young man was killed yesterday in Banjo. And now the police spokeswoman said, well, you know what happened? He's on administrative leave, and now we're investigating with Liberian again. How long? How many times will police officers kill innocent civilians? How many times? Now, when I say how many times, I know what I'm talking about. When I say how many times, I'm taking us back to King Jaw, when unarmed civilians were killed using live bullets for a foreign company that exploiting millions of dollars of mineral for our country and bringing little or nothing back to us And then our military, even our armed forces were carried there to go and protect them, to protect their company. And they're not doing anything for the boy in the community there. That's what I'm talking about. And they kill people in cold blood. And then again, like with the CBL situation, behind closed door, they went and wrote the people parents, the children parents, and get them $5,000 through the justice minister, Oswald Tuwe. Wrote the people a letter and told them sorry and get them 5,000, and say, okay, you close your mouth, you don't go to court, you don't do anything, and you know that back on be back on. Is that the kind of Liberia we want to have? And don't stop there. Let's go to rehab in the president community where the president himself live. DEA officers then went there, open fire, broad day, among civilians, killed a little boy there. Can you imagine? A 17-year-old boy, killed him there. This guy also killed a 19-year-old boy. Another police officer killed another, and this is not all. Ghana's era, another police officer when he killed another young Liberian there again. The question we are asking is that what is being done for the security of our people? You know, what has been done for the security of our people? You know, when you live in a country where people feel they are carrying arms and they can just shoot civilians and nothing will come out of it, then it's bothersome. And I think something has to be done about this. And not only this, don't forget, not only this, that there are other instances as well. Outside Liberia, where law enforcement use live bullets on civilians, kill them. And then add to that, we have broad day camera where civilians took stones and beat young men to death. Broad day, people recording on camera, and no police, no security intervention while it was on live recording. And not only that, an elderly woman, Oma, broad day, whipped, flogged unmercifully, and died from an injury, and no intervention from security forces. What type of country is this? What type of country is this? Police brutality. We saw what happened at the CDC headquarters in Congo Town, opposite Lone Star Cell, when the police went and deployed men at the gas station right across from right adjacent the CDC headquarters as a form of police intimidation. It brought another noise again where citizens start throwing stones. Then we go that one pass. Then we go to we push it forward. Police through DEA, and the DEA goes and collect false search and seizure warrant and go and cause commotion around the CDC headquarters. And then we see the PSU forces. They go there shooting tear gas, naked women, dragging them, putting people in pickup pot, incarcerating people. Where is the country going? We go to Capitol building. Peaceful citizens decide to go on the street and say, hey, respect the rule of law. These guys are not following the rule of law. Like we see for the formula today, who called the justice minister talking like a drunken man, and the justice minister in the court terms, open, who's speaking there, he's speaking in a King Jew shop. People like that, police protecting them and brutalize their own citizens. For those kind of people, brutalize other lawmakers who want to respect the rule of law. Police brutalize the one who want to respect the law for the one who don't want to respect the law. What kind of country are we in? Police brutalize lawmakers and civilians. Can you imagine what type of country? What image are we selling out there? How do we make the civilians to feel safe? If I elect a lawmaker and send a lawmaker to the Capitol building, and the policeman is brave enough to beat on the lawmaker and nothing come out of it, then what's about me who elected a lawmaker? Anything that happened to me is like we see now. They can just shoot anybody they want to shoot, and nothing will come out of it. Liberia, we need to realize that this country needs to put itself together, and I will use the word and I will make us vex to rethink. The country is in the hands of country people. The country is in the hands of native people. The native people, we are in the House of Legislature. The native people, we are in the executive branch. The native people, we are at the Supreme Court. We are in the courts. The country is in the hands of native people. Now we say that the country was not going well because the Congo people were there. Now that we have the country, what are we doing with the country, my people? What are we doing with the country? Why are we embarrassing ourselves like this? Why? Why are we embarrassing ourselves? So I want to express my deepest condolences and my sympathy to the family of that young man who was killed in Banjul, in the Banjul community. I want to say our deepest condolence. We want to see concrete actions taken against officers who use public salary, carry public arm, and to make matter worse. Before I close on the subject, and I want to say something before I close on the subject. So far, the arm these police officers are abusing is the pistol. That's why I put it here. I put it on for purpose. It's pistol, right? But don't forget, when you look at Gregory Cuomo, these few days, and you look at other police officers when they go down to break people's structure, the people are already suffering, no money for school fee, no money for high prices of fuel, transportation going up, no money to pay school fees, no money to buy bag of red prices are going up, no money to maintain the electricity. You buy your unit before you look your unit finish, your telephone bill, everything going up, the local call, and all the things going on. People going through hard time, people suffering. Some people want to do that little market table, want to do that little selling on the side. We understand development, how to go on, my people. You come to the United States here. You go in New York City, the Big Apple, people got their things on the street they're selling. They call it Chinatown. Yeah, we used to do way back on King Johnson Road and what else? They got other things on the street. They're selling on the street. They're selling on the sidewalk. Poor people, no company, no job. Some of you who even executing those diabolical plans of taking the people, the poor off the street to put Lebanese people in there, or taking the poor off the street to put other things in there. Those very poor things. Some of you, your mothers were selling the very market when they sent you to school to LU. Your parents, some of you, your mothers were selling those same by the way marketing, those same hurry, quick, selling evening selling. They were doing that. They were sending you to school. They were paying your school fee in high school. They were paying your school fee in B. They were paying your school fee in C. They were paying your school fees. President Brocker himself can say, "Oh, myself too, sitting here. I used to walk this day. I used to go to school. I used to be suffering. Oh yeah, our own man is so bitter and pepper." To send the children to school. We agree they got market here. We agree they got a designated place to sell. We agree they got other kind of things. But I normally will say, I am all for development. But I never bought that mentality during early time where they say development come with pain. Development does not have to come with pain. No, development does not have to come with pain. Let me tell you something. I used to live in Pinson City when the majority of the area around David Junction going to GSA Road, all the place that was also forest, complete forest. I'm telling you the truth. Fine. Even the David Junction was complete isolated community. Isolated community. And let me tell you something. We used to have hair cutting booths all along the road where the Nigerian Minute Base is still now they call one hotel right opposite SDA back road there. The hotel, someone in the corridor there. All right, the back road to go to LBS there. All along the church they called a Church of God. All along that side, the place also the other place were open. We have hair salon there, makeshift stuff, all the kind of thing. Look, I lived in early time. I saw Mirror Bro break people's structures down. Only at the end of the day, all the places became dump site. All the places became dump site. Meanwhile, development also can mean you guys want to do street peddling along this stretch, right? Government through the city corporation can come and build decent street selling booth. I mean, decent ones that will go in other countries. We see decent ones build a street selling booths along that whole stretch there, right? and then try to deal with Jetty store at the area junction or Seti Brother store. Then put a fence corridor in between the main road and the beautiful booths that they will build along there, and let the city corporation make money for no kind of thing. There. Say you want to sell behind the line, sell buy your spot, sell behind the line, and do you want to put your things in on the outside, put it behind the line, things like that. And the city corporation raise money on no kind of thing. But no, you will go and damage people, the whole place. You're leaving, and at the end of the day, the whole place in a dump site. Dump site. We need to be. So if I wanted to say, oh, people building makeshift homes because of the current living condition, what will happen if the government put money in the budget, and those same kids that going to MVTC or any vocational training center area that we got there that doing construction? What if government said it, the government and said it, or the government of said it, we'll put money in the budget? Those who graduate construction, electrical engineering, plumbing, all that kind of thing, the smart students and those who are available will get money in the budget. Every year, we'll build certain amount of housing units, low income housing unit, affordable income housing unit, that if I take somebody if I break somebody's house from here today, I would take them and say, I'm not breaking your house, but I'm taking you from here. I'm giving you this apartment. Yes, your key. Every month you pay $10 on the house here until you finish paying the money that will pay to build the house. Listen, my people. And how they put deal with Stephen Tower Estate, New Georgia Estate, top of them, other put in what they were thinking. Why are we so heartless? The person cannot even find food to eat. You having no immunity, no basic social services to improve their lives, no job for their children, nothing. Then you look at the person zinc shack, then you carry a bulldozer there, then you knock it down, you say it's in alley. Oh yeah, it is in alley. I agree with you. But what will happen, President Boakai? What will happen, President Boakai? What will happen, senators? What will happen, representatives? If you put money in the budget, and you come to this community and you say, there's 3 houses that in the area today. We came today to have a program with you. We're taking you from here, your key here. We're carrying you along this other area. This is the house we pay for you. And these houses were paid by your children who went to the trade school over there. Through building the houses with them, they even were able to make some earnings from there. They're part of youth employment. Why can we think that way? Why can't we think that way? Set the different set of government, set the ordinances. Listen, we can't stop people from selling on the street. But how can we upgrade that mindset? How can we upgrade that design that is in the head that they must sell on the street? How can we upgrade the area that they want to sell so that they have what they need to be able to sell where they want to sell? How can we upgrade it? People, I'm telling you, travel around the world. You go to great cities, you see people sell along the streets, but they do it in a more refined way. How can we not be innovative? How can we not be accommodating? Even in the regular era, we move from there, we're carrying it way beyond to the place President where he said we are big. People will not go there. But look at the landscape. What type of innovative engineer can go down there and look at that whole area and design his head and say, look, this whole area, I can design it in a way that the people will still sell here, but it will not obstruct traffic. I will design the whole area in the radar, the whole area black, the whole radar area. I will design. I bring a construction a strategy in my head. I'm coming to sell it to government. We can build the whole radar area. The same area we can build it that they will not obstruct traffic, but they will be able to sell, and the city can make money from the structure that will be designed there. Why are we not being innovative? Why do we still think we gotta go grab a small goose and throw in the pickup pot and carry in a pot divider behind the horse? Why we think that is the only idea? Why we think so? So all the public works, then I can do all the construction things. So nobody can design an idea for the Ryla area, for the Douala area, for the King Johnson Road area, for whatever area, and say, this is how we're going to design this place. The architecture of the place is going to be designed like this. It will come on these street sellers, but will not interfere with traffic. Why can't we be innovative? And that's why I want to draw the curtain to a close, and say, look, Liberia, look, we can do better, man. We can do better. Country people in our house of representatives gotta do better. You country boys ain't gotta do better. The man that JJ Rao then, that Mark McCarty, right? What JJ Rao would think? What JJ Rao would think about your bossing places in the days? What JJ Rao would think about you, right? Men that Johnny Lewis then, Johnny Lewis will be chewing tobacco and just looking and be spitting whole day. Country boys, be spitting. Eh? Can you imagine? We can do better. I believe we can do far better. Do far better. And I say, and I stand and I support Speaker Kofa. Don't give in Speaker Kofa, because if you give in, then we'll never improve. We'll be like this. Every other the 55th legislature will move on, will get to another 56. We'll have the same thing again. When somebody people feel they can do it, they will take bribe and they will do the same thing again. So no, we can do better. And I close this session and saying thank you for listening. But before I close, I want to play again Justice Wese statement concerning the Supreme Court ruling, which is very important. I'll play them before I close, and now I'll play that country ball on the statement that he made concerning Justice Wese. Then I'll close.
You know, some time ago, when we the lieutenant for the president address, they begin move of the news and the addresses them. That was the common way of trying to avoid getting involved in potential conflict. You remember the conflict going on at the House, the Supreme Court, when they appeared before us. We made a decision, and the effect of that decision was that, look, our law requires that the House should have the quorum, and that quorum should be presided over by a speaker. Now that you, the quote-unquote majority black, have a quorum, but we don't see a speaker there. So whatever you do is ultra-viral. Otherwise, it's illegal. We turn to the minority black. The law says until you can get majority, get quorum, you continue to adjourn from day to day and compare the other people to join. But there is no statute that tells you how you compare the people. You don't have a rule that tells you how you compare the people. So you two will remain there until you get majority. Whatever you do is ultra-viral. So on both sides, the Supreme Court clearly saying that go and solve your problem. You don't have a law to that effect. We are doing our own. We're not in control of politics. If for some reason the Senate decide to recognize majority black, President recognize majority black, and government function is going on, then we receive an invitation from the speaker. Our question is, our presence there means that we are recognized one side of the black. So the best thing to do was to remain who we are. That was the rationale. Many people don't understand, but that was the rationale of the court.
That was the rationale of the court. So he's saying, listen, we're not going to do that. We're not going to go there. We're not going to give you any idea that you think you are right or you're doing the right thing. No, we're not going to buy, and we're not going to go there. He said, and then I like it when he said this. He said, and we don't know where they took the idea from. And then they decided to go. Senate decided to go recognize them, and then the president decided to recognize them. But we all know what the idea came. It came from what is his name again? It came from Justice Minister Twain. It's Justice Minister Twain that went and mislead the Liberian people. When he told them, say, interpreting the Supreme Court opinion, he said, "Oh, the Supreme Court is supporting the majority black." And the President Bogdan decided to follow, and the Senate decided they ain't supposed to do so, but they decided to do so. What if you get a question on the Supreme Court? Then why you couldn't go to the Supreme Court himself? To the Supreme Court itself? No, you decided to go to your own thing, do your own thing. And then at the end of the day, this is what for the family had to say concerning that Chief Justice is standing there. Listen to the rudeness, the countrymen. Listen to him. Listen to him. So he called the Supreme Court Justice Boise, man who doing liquor shop. The friends in Jomahin Street. Justice Boise, according to him, for the family, representing for the family, making a liquor statement. And he said, "Now in King Jewish shop." And that was the opening of the term of court when the justice was making that statement. He said, "He must say in King Jewish shop." Gross disrespect. What would J.J. Rowell say about this? What would J.J. Rowell say about this? Mark McCarthy would say, "What sad, very sad day for us." And then I close again back with Boise's statement. Then we leave.
You know, some time ago, when we the lieutenant for the president address, they begin move of news and the addresses them. That was the common way of trying to avoid getting involved in potential conflict. You remember the conflict going at the House, the Supreme Court, when they appeared before us. We made a decision, and the effect of that decision was that, look, our law requires that the House should have the quorum, and that quorum should be presided over by the Speaker. Now that you, the quote-unquote majority black, have a quorum, but we don't see a Speaker there. So whatever you do is ultra-viral. Otherwise, it's legal. We turn to the minority black. The law says until you can get majority, get quorum, you continue to adjourn from day to day and compare the other people to join. But there is no statute that tells you how you will compare the people. You don't have a rule that tells you how you will compare the people. So you two will remain there until you get majority. Whatever you do is ultra viral. So on both sides, the Supreme Court clearly saying that go and solve your problem. We don't have law to that effect. We are done our own. We're not in control of politics. If for some reason the Senate decide to recognize majority black, President recognize majority black, and government function is going on, then we receive an invitation from the Speaker. Our question is, our presence there means that we are recognized one side of the plan. So the best thing to do was to remain who we are. That was the rationale. Many people don't understand, but that was the rationale of the court.
So thank you again for viewing. Let me just summarize and close for now. So thank you for viewing this, the Melting Pot Liberia Sustainable Development Think Tank. We highlight major issues unfolding in Liberia. We'll have a conversation. Today we're able to talk about the president suspending 400 plus people, in Liberia there. And we said, listen, it's a good thing the president did, but you can always say the president has to lead. He has to show leadership. What was the planning before effecting this decision? It's a good thing, but the execution was poor. And we think the people around the president should pay more attention to taking time to plan execution of these kind of activities. And another thing we talk about was the issue about the murder case, the police guy who shot somebody in Banjo. We say, look, there much has to be done to ensure that we do not allow ourselves to continue to use the police to cause mayhem on our Liberian people. We're asking our Liberian people to please try the best as they can to be safe out there. And listen, take precaution. If you're going anywhere, you're going to be out there, inform your family members, tell them where you are. If there's any confrontation with law enforcement, please put your hands down, put your hands where they can see it, and call people attention. If possible, put your camera on to videotape it so that you're on the safe side. what Representative Fode Famila did today was wrong. We condemn it in the strongest terms. He had no business saying what he said about the justice, calling the justice, making the liquor statement. We condemn it in the strongest terms. We say he doesn't even worth the salt to be a honorable man in our house just by making that disdainful statement against the Justice Boise. We condemn that strongly. We say that should never happen at all. Should never happen. And I think the Bar Association should actually get rid of him if possible. Look, fire the man from down there. All right. And we'll talk about the situation with the House of Representatives busting the doors of the Speaker was wrong. Trying to take the law in their own hands is wrong. You cannot be the lawmaker, the law interpreter, then the law enforcer at the same time. It doesn't work that our government system does not work like that, right? And I would say with what Justice Boise has said, I think Justice Minister Oswald Tuwai needs to be dismissed by President Boakai. I think the legal advisor, Bushman Keita, needs to be dismissed by President Boakai. And the reason is simple. They all misled President Boakai and put the country into the mess we're in right now. Probably if they are not done what they did, we will not be the way we are today. If they did not guard the president wrong, the president would not have facilitated the action of those guys calling themselves majority black, and but maybe possibly our capital building would not have gotten burned. We would not be the way we are today. Again, I use the word countrymen a lot, and it was not by mistake. I did it intentionally to provoke us. At one point in time, we said Congo people were ruling the country, and then they were dominating us, and they saying, oh, they didn't give us chance. Now today we're teaching Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. We're going now to Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. We're graduating now from Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. We are going to LU now. We're going to LU. We are in the Bar Association. We are in the legislature. We are in the executive mansion. We are at the Supreme Court. We are in all the courthouses there across Liberia there. So at the end of the day, why are we behaving the way we're behaving? What are we embarrassing ourselves as leaders of our country? This is not a good example we're setting, and I want to say we can do better. Thank you for viewing today, and have a wonderful rest of the day. It was a pleasure for you to have had me on your screen today. Thank you.